Hi guys, welcome back to Movie Chat and More. And as I always say, if you're here for the very first time, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, today we're concentrating on the and more part of my channel. We're not going to be talking about movies, not movies. No, today, as you can see, we're going to be talking about the nWo and the Generation X. Two of the biggest factions in wrestling history, bar none. Okay, you got the Four Horsemen, you got other factions, but to me, okay, maybe the Four Horsemen break into it. I mean, yeah, it will be stupid to say they don't, but to me, it's always going to be nWo versus DX. So if you're a fan of the Click, like I am, you can't really lose. But there was a time where one company was going to lose during the Monday Night War. Yeah. And this video is basically going to be very laid back. I really, I'm a little bit tired. I've been working hard recently, and so yeah, I just want to shoot the breeze. I know I always say that, but yeah, there's going to be less theatrics today. Yeah, let's just cool it down a little bit, okay? Anyway, you tell me, who was better, DX, the Generation X of the WWE, or WWF, if you will, or the New World Order, the nWo, the brainchild of Eric Bischoff, the genius? Who's your favorite? Comment down below and let me know. But I'm going to be talking about both factions today. I'm not going to be going into great depth when it comes to depth, you know? Yeah, I mean, the nWo was first. I mean, 1996, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, they had both left Vince McMahon, and they went down south to World Championship Wrestling. And it began, with Scott Hall coming through the crowd and into the ring. Razor Ramon is, and yeah, Scott Hall. Anyway, Razor, Scott, there's a match going on, and no one really cares. You suddenly see Razor Ramon, Scott Hall come into the ring. Who gives a crap about what's going on in the ring? You know? Excuse me. Yeah, some match was going on, and Scott Hall comes down into the ring, grabs the microphone, and I will never forget this. You people know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. And that sticks out in my memory. I mean, to be honest, to be totally honest, the only way I could have seen that, being in the UK, would have been on some kind of scrambled German channel with German commentators who did a great job. I mean, but I'm from the UK. I don't speak German, but I'm assuming the German commentators, the announcers, were good. Didn't help me none. But yeah, I do remember. I don't know if I saw that when it actually happened. But I've seen it a million times on DVD and Sky and God knows what. And yeah, you want to talk about impact? I'm not going to be talking about TNA, guys. Okay, don't even get me started on TNA. Yeah, it's a piece of crap. Yeah, sorry if you like TNA. My apologies, but it's my personal opinion. I think TNA sucks. It always did. Always will. Well, maybe not always will. Anyway, yeah, Scott Hall, you know who I am, you don't know why I'm here. And he basically, yeah, that was the beginning of the entire nWo Outsiders thing. And he promised, I think, there was someone else coming. Now, at the time, no one, I don't think anyway, knew who it was. And of course, it ended up being Diesel, Kevin Nash, yeah? And there's a classic moment. It's on many DVDs. I have, it's just down there somewhere, the nWo DVD. Revolution, something, nWo Revolution, the box set, yeah. And there's a moment at the commentary, and this is where we're all still supposed to believe Eric Bischoff is like Vince McMahon. He's just an announcer. We know better, but, you know. And Scott Hall is talking to Eric Bischoff, the announcer. And Eric is kind of like, I'm here, where is he, where is he? Now, I don't remember if Scott Hall had already promised Kevin Nash. I don't think he did. I think it was just, there's someone else coming. Again, I stand to be corrected. Comment down below. Anyway, Kevin Nash standing directly behind Eric Bischoff, if my memory serves me right. And Scott is like pointing. He's like, he's behind you kind of thing. And Kevin Nash grabs the microphone and, you've been running your mouth. And, you know, this is where the big boys play, huh? This is where the big boys play. Look at the adjective. We ain't here to play. Now, I'm telling you, I'm not telling you, but what do you guys think? I mean, do you think that's a legendary moment in the history of sports entertainment? I know I do. I mean, WCW at the time was still, Eric Bischoff was doing his best to make money for a company that had never really turned a profit. But with the nWo, or the Outsiders at the time, things kicked off in a huge way. And to the best of my knowledge, it was the brainchild of Eric Bischoff. Now, not the most liked man in sports entertainment. I do have his Blu-ray. I know his book is called Controversy Creates Cash. Controversy. I have trouble with that word sometimes. Excuse me. But his DVD, I think it's called something. Anyway, never mind. I love Eric Bischoff. A lot of people don't. I think the guy's a genius. And I think he's better being out of the wrestling industry right now. Because, in my opinion, the wrestling industry right now sucks. Vince McMahon is... I could go on. Anyway, we're talking nWo versus DX. So let's not go off on too many tangents when it comes to what Vince McMahon and Triple H and all that are doing right now. Okay? Because I could go on forever. You're already thinking, he already does. Okay. Yeah. So Kevin Nash is in WCW now, and he's aligned himself, obviously, with Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. And we were led to believe that they truly were spies from the WWF. That's what they were. They were the outsiders. They were at WCW to wreak havoc, destroy World Championship Wrestling, and that was the nWo, the New World Order. But things progressed, and Eric Bischoff, as he says it, always had in mind he wanted to create an nWo versus WCW thing. You know, a rivalry between the nWo on one side and WCW on the other. Did it work? Yeah, it did. it worked for a while, but we'll get into that a little bit later on, because we all know how many NWOs were there eventually. You had the Latino NWO, you had the red and black NWO, there were so many NWOs it got ridiculous, and that was the downfall of this faction. But to begin with, we had Kevin Nash, we had Scott Hall, and the Third Man. Now, was this at Bash at the Beach? I think it was. Was it 96, Bash at the Beach? The Third Man. And we had, what was it, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, obviously. Was it against Sting and Macho Man Randy Savage? Savage was definitely there. I remember that. Can't remember the other guy. It was a handicap match, was it not? And there was going to be a third man, and the third man turned out to be the immortal, ultimate babyface of all time, Hulk Hogan. Now, seeing Hulk Hogan as a heel, as a bad guy, or as I used to call it back then, baddie, it's true, I did. Goodies and baddies. That's why, yeah, I was a kid. Well, kind of. Anyway, when Hulk Hogan joined the nWo, this is something I think Kevin Nash this is something I think Kevin Nash looks back on as a mistake. I'm not too sure about that. I always stand to be corrected. But there's only one way to do that. You got to comment down below and let me know, guys. Yeah, so no matter what Nash says today, no matter what Kevin Nash says, the third man, being Hulk Hogan, that's when the outsiders stopped being really the outsiders and became the nWo, the New World Order. And they had the black and white promos and paid for by the nWo, the New World Order, and paid for. It was great. And like Eric says himself, we're wrestling fans. It's like, yeah, we know that's supposed to happen and that's supposed to happen and this, that, and the other. But there were certain things the nWo did, and, it was looked upon as real. And it's crazy to think of now, because, this was 1996. Okay, we had the internet, online, but it wasn't like it is now, because if it was, the nWo may never have worked the way it did, because wrestling fans were actually looking at WCW Nitro and what Nash and Hall and Hogan were doing on a weekly basis and thinking, that wasn't supposed to happen, was it? And that's what's great. That's why Bischoff always wanted to be live, because when you're live, anything can happen. While at the time, the WWEF, whatever, get the F out, yeah? They had a tape show. Vince McMahon had Monday Night Raw. And it was killing WCW in the ratings. Vince was still running the show. When it comes to sports entertainment, when it comes to the wrestling industry, Vince McMahon was still running the show. Raw was winning in the ratings war, before a war even began. But when the first shots were fired, that's when Eric kicked ass. And he did. For, what was it, 2.5 years, 3 years? WCW, thanks to Eric and the New World Order, the nWo, they kicked ass in the ratings. And WWE, they stayed afloat. because they had loyal people. They had people like The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels and, yeah, Triple H. And even though at this time Triple H wasn't big news, he was getting there. So I've talked a bit about the nWo. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about D-Generation X, DX, okay? Now, by and large, I am a DX guy, okay? If I had to pick one faction, I mean, I love the Click. And the Click is kind of like both, yeah? They're the real deal. They've got HBK, Shawn Michaels, and they've got Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall, and Sean Mortman, and Triple H. So, you know, with me, it's quite, even though my allegiance is with DX, it doesn't really matter to me. But at the time, during the Monday Night War, wow, things, it kind of mattered. Now, I'm just making sure the screen doesn't go dark on me. That's annoying. That's annoying when that happens because it's just annoying. Anyway, yeah, WWE and DX. How did that start? Yeah, well, I think Triple H and Shawn Michaels got on very well backstage, and yeah, they were told basically. I mean, Shawn Michaels wasn't the most liked man in the locker room, but he had influence. And the reason he had influence, I hear so many people bitching about Shawn Michaels and what he did and the way he acted. And, well, guys, at the time, he was the most valuable asset the WWE had. I mean, you could argue The Undertaker, you could argue Stone Cold Steve Austin, but, you know, to be honest, the Stone Cold thing didn't really start until King of the Ring, did it? King of the Ring 96. You know, when Austin beat Jake the Snake Roberts in the final, and you sat there, you thump your Bible, and it got you nowhere. You see your Psalms, you say your John 3:16, Austin 3:16 says, "I just whipped your ass." Now that was the beginning of the Austin era, kind of. But at the time, WWE was still relying even on Bret Hart. You know, Bret Hart was still big business. Not as big as he once was, but Bret Hart was still doing the rounds and not making the kind of money he did years ago, like a couple of years before, but Bret Hart was still around. But DX, yeah, DX. What I think of the genesis of DX is that tag team match where Triple H and Shawn Michaels were forced to tag team against Mankind and The Undertaker. And I've seen this match probably about 50 times. You know, it's classic. And you could see, okay, we don't want to be tag team partners. I'm this side of the fence. I'm that side of the fence. But Shawn Michaels and Triple H, you hear the commentary, you hear the announcers, and they gelled as a tag team, as a faction. And then, of course, I think Triple H already had China as kind of like a bodyguard, was it? China was there. And then in October 1997, it was made official. In a backstage moment, on screen, of course. And that was when Shawn Michaels and Triple H were basically arguing about what a degenerate is. And, well, not arguing, but going back and forth. Do you think you're a degenerate? Because I'm positive I'm one. You know what? I'm sick and tired of Generation X getting a bad rap. You know what? I'm sick and tired of it. Degeneration X. Is that us? Degeneration up. Degeneration X. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, China. Degeneration X. You make the rules, and we will break 'em. Yeah. And then we had the whole crotch chop thing. I mean, which Michaels was doing before DX formed, when he came back after his knee injury. Yeah, so I mean, I love both factions. I mean, Shawn Michaels and Triple H in China, some people say carbon copy of the nWo. Some people say it was just a rip-off of Eric Bischoff's WCW nWo. What do I think of that? Well, first, tell me what you think of that. Comment down below and let me know. Was DX just a pure and simple rip-off of the nWo? Because you could argue that. You could argue that. If you had a clink, then that's my beer can. Throat is dry. Pardon me. Yeah. There is a case to be argued. Is DX or was DX a rip-off of the nWo? I don't like using the term a rip-off. You can. Obviously, everyone's entitled to their opinion. No, I don't think it was a straightforward rip-off. I think Shawn Michaels and Triple H and the Clique, barring, of course, the guys that went to WCW, I think they knew, hey, Vince, these guys down south are kicking our ass. We need to do something. And Vince isn't a stupid man. And, well, nowadays, who knows? But back then, Vince McMahon was very much on the ball. And when he said to Triple H and Michaels, just go out and do what you do in the ring and around the ring, in front of the camera, what you do behind the camera, and that's what they did. And DX were, like I said, by and large, I am a DX fan over the nWo. But when you're a fan of the Clique, it doesn't really matter, does it? So yeah, some classic DX moments. The tag team match, against The Undertaker and Mankind. The genesis of DX. What else? I mean, there's matches that stand out. There's a classic where they actually, I think it was Sergeant Slaughter. Oh, pardon me. Sergeant Slaughter was the commissioner of the WWF back then, and he put Triple H, the European champion, against Shawn Michaels, and it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in wrestling history. I've got to, yeah, there are funnier, but this is quite up there. And when the Sarge put Triple H and Michaels against each other for the European Championship, the whole match was just funny. I mean, it was Michaels bouncing off Triple H and Triple H bouncing off Michaels, running back and forward across the ring and stuff like that, if I remember rightly. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I do. Yeah, it was hilarious because it killed the European Championship. I mean, in my opinion, that belt was always a piece of shit anyway. It didn't really mean anything. When Triple H, actually, I think I've got that the wrong way around. I think who was the European champion? I think Shawn. Yeah, Shawn. Shawn was the European champion going into that match, and Triple H beat Shawn Michaels, and he had the whole Rocky Balboa speech at the end. you know, this is the greatest night of my life and all that business, and he's holding up the European belt, and he stayed European champion for God knows how long. It may not have been that long, but I don't remember. But yeah, that whole Triple H versus Michaels thing really backfired in Slaughter's face. But we all know it was a work, but it was a funny work, you know. That was a funny match, and that's what DX were. I mean, the NWO was serious business. Okay, the NWO didn't really mess around and make jokes and stuff like that. You know, Hogan, Nash, and Hall, they were the bad guys. You know, they weren't messing around down south, down in WCW. DX, okay, they could kick some ass, but they were more entertaining. I mean, entertaining in a funny way. They would do these skits in the ring with the. I remember there's a huge salami or something like that, and a tiny little sausage on a stick, and Triple H comparing uh, the late great Owen Hart, comparing basically private parts, and DX and Triple H and Shawn Michaels was there, of course, and they got the big, huge sausage on one stick, or they're holding it and they got this tiny little wiener. Man to boy, man to boy. Triple H being the man, Owen Hart being the boy, and that was funny. The moments with Michael Cole was hilarious. Pushing Michael Cole into the shower and spraying him, and wow, that thing shrunk right up. You know, I mean, it's classic. I mean, DX were very, very funny. When they came back in 2006, they were still good. They were still good, but they weren't as funny. Because by 2006, the WWE had changed a lot. WCW had been out of action for, what, 5 years? And, yeah, so, yeah, if you want to talk about the two factions and compare the two factions, I would say nWo were all business, really, while DX were the funny guys. But they meant business too. So yeah, I mean, I have just said a few moments. The nWo, DX, DX, yeah, I'm a DX guy, but I'm a Click guy. I love the Click. I've got the Blu-ray down there somewhere. I've got the nWo DVD. Yeah, I've got the several DX DVDs down. Every one they brought out. The first one on DVD, and New and Improved. I think that came out in 2007. I think, or it could have been 2006. That's when DX got back together. Well, Triple H and Shawn Michaels did anyway. But yeah, you know, you comment down below and you tell me who is your favorite. If you have a preference, you may be like me. You may be. That's why I'm finding it hard to actually talk about this in great detail, because I love both factions. If someone was to come to me right now and say, Richard, who is your favorite, or who were, who was the best faction, nWo or DX, I would always say DX, because my favorite wrestler of all time was the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. And yeah, okay, he was in the nWo when they came back to the WWE, but let's face it, we all know at that time the nWo was finished. You know, the product was over. Everybody was getting too old. The gimmick had worn off, and we all knew it was a work. While back in 1996, when the nWo first showed up on the scene as the Outsiders, it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird. Anyway, guys, I'm going to stop right there. Like I said, I'm very, very tired. I will be doing my best to upload a video sometime during the week. I mean, this is Sunday afternoon. Is it still the afternoon? Yeah. My clock says 1:35 p.m. But by the time this video uploads, with my shitty internet connection, it's going to be a lot later than that. But thanks for tuning in. I'll see you soon, guys. Take care of yourselves, and thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you all soon.